The International Monetary Fund has approved only a minimum of rupee 1 per unit reduction in electricity tariffs, far short of the rupee 8 per unit relief initially claimed by some government officials. On Thursday, IMF's resident representative in Islamabad, Meagre, confirmed the program allows for a limited subsidy funded by a newly imposed grid levy on industrial captive power plants. He said the revenue from CPP firms can be used for reducing rupee 1 per kilowatt hour electricity price, adding that benefit will go to everyone. But even this modest relief faces delays. On the same day, the Islamabad High Court stayed the grid levy that was meant to fund the reduction until at least April 30th. Justice Khadim Hussain Sumro issued the stay order after nearly 20 industrial units, mostly from the textile sector, challenged the surcharge. The grid levy sat at 791 rupees per million BTU on LNG supplied to captive plants was imposed earlier this month. It would raise fuel prices for self-generating industrial units significantly over next 3 years from 1700 rupees to around 4300 rupees per million BTU. This move was part of the government's written commitment to the IMF to disconnect gas to captive plants and push them onto the national grid, which is currently facing excess capacity and high capacity payments. But after pressure from industrial lobbies, the policy was modified, where disconnection is not feasible. The government agreed to price adjustments and levies instead, with the collected revenue earmarked to slightly reduce grid electricity prices. In parallel, the government has also introduced a rupees 10 per litre petroleum levy effective from March 15 to help offset another promised rupees 1.75 per unit electricity too. This measure, expected to generate around 15 billion rupees monthly, is also pending IMF clearance. Despite these steps, the IMF has not revised Pakistan's revenue targets. Authorities say any deviation from economic growth or inflation forecasts will be adjusted as long as the agreed primary budget surplus 1% of GDP rising to 2% by 2028 remains protected. IMF's executive board is now expected to review the staff level agreement during or shortly after the fund's spring meetings in Washington from April 21st to 26th, but procedural delays could push final approval and disbursement into May or June. Another IMF mission is also expected to visit Islamabad in mid-May to finalize macroeconomic projections and budget planning for the next fiscal year. Meanwhile, NAPRA continues to review annual-based tariffs petitions from distribution companies. So far, only 7 independent power producers have applied for revised tariffs following recent negotiations. And while IMF rejected any reduction in real estate tax rates, officials say a 2% federal excise duty on first-time property transactions may be trimmed in the upcoming budget.